Where's my live? Oh,
Corey
that's
said
live.
that's what she said.
I have to make it smaller. I think we're live because I can't see it. Hold on. Hi, friends. Yeah, we're live. It's just the banner's weird tonight. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday at 7 o'clock. I'm Joni Bates, and what do we do every Wednesday at 7 o'clock? It's Wine Wednesday, which has kind of turned into Whiskey in a Teacup Wednesday, which now has turned into, for me, I've got straight up margarita in a teacup because it's been a day.
And it almost feels like spring, so good on you.
It kind of does have a really, and it's yellow like everything outside. So when you think about it, it just fits. It fits with
About the pollen.
with everything pollen. Okay, so my comments are going to come alongside here, and they'll run across the bottom. And there we go. That's better. And I get to introduce you all to my sweet friend Val. And I just have to tell you, Val, I have to gush on you.
Aw.
If there's ever a friend who you want to have that one phone call with where it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're like, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes and wear something cute, bring your heels, bring your hunters, don't ask too many questions. And she'd be like, yeah, great. Where do we, heels and hunters? Okay, let's go. Like you are the ride or die of all the friends. You are the person I want next to me when I have those scary phone calls, and the person I want next to me when there's someone scary next to me.
Love you, girl. Right back at you.
You are all those things and more, and the complete package of brains and beauty and loyalty and friendship like no one else. So thank you. Thank you for being that for me and for so many other people. And so the reason why I want you all to know Val is because Val has an amazing past as far as her career and what she has done in finance and banking, truly in a man's world. And then as we all are and have been stay-at-home moms, and then transitioning into what are we doing now? What's our next step? So my friend Val, tell us about the YOU and your previous life, current life, and where you headed.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on.
Of course. I know I'm going to need a refill because this is.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's a very small cup. So.
Amen, sister. Very small cups they have no business here.
They really don't. So like the beautiful Joni shared, I come from a multi-decade banking background and kind of fell into that out of grad school, not sure what I wanted to do. And banking was a great way to get to learn about different industries and maybe find your path. Well, mine stayed in banking.
Can I ask a couple questions? When you had your undergrad, what was your undergrad in?
International business and a minor in economics.
Okay. And then your graduate work was in?
It was finance and with a concentration in international banking. So I knew banking was something I was interested in. I was down south finally. I'm from New York. I finally got down south for grad school. And I wanted to stay down here and work at Nations Bank. That was my goal. Dating myself right there. And
that's all good. Come on.
And I did. And back then the getting to meet Hugh McCall and just having like almost a dream. Your dream job comes to you, and then it's a big bank that was still a small bank, and you're learning the ropes. But there were more than a couple of times. Again, this was a while ago. You're young, you're female. It's a male dominated industry. Back then, there was a lot of just, I don't know if I do I have to censor or can I say?
Oh, go for it. Come on.
Okay.
Folks who
All
are going
right.
to watch this are just us and the
Our
repeat.
friends. Okay.
Mhm.
So there was an issue I'll call it my rookie year. And we had this big conference in Charlotte. I'm working in Greensboro. And we're all hanging out, and I have, older brother, and it always, from a small community where everyone hung out together, never had an issue, just hanging out with the guys, the girls, whatever, kind of
Right.
just couldn't hang out with anybody. So had my first run in with sexual harassment at an event there, and actually had one of my male managers who witnessed everything step in, then had the regional manager walk me back to the hotel, I think trying to talk me off of the like, don't sue us horse.
The lawsuit horse, yeah.
Very, very nice gentleman, but trying to protect the company. And so I get back to the office, and I remember having a conversation with my dad, and I just started, it was my first year in. And I said everything, I told him everything that happened. And of course, dad's heartbroken. But he's like, it's your decision. But you probably should say something.
Yeah.
And so I basically decided that I'd rather be known as the company bitch for this guy has done this to umpteen other people.
Well, exactly. You weren't the first one, know? Yeah.
Then the company, oh, she's young. She's the new slut in the company. And he got a slap on the wrist, but everybody knew what had happened. Yeah. I spoke my truth back then, which wasn't a mantra. I'm so glad it is now. I have 2 daughters, so having that as they grow up.
Yes.
One of the hardest things I had to do. I thought they were going to fire me. I honestly thought I was going to get fired.
And it's hard enough as is, doing what you were doing, being successful, being out there, doing all the things. And that is a layer of complication that nobody needs.
Yeah.
And that fear and that apprehension, because you know what? You were just doing a job.
Yeah. Yeah. We were,
okay.
Not okay. So, and then I had one of my first clients, sweet older guy, finds out I'm from New York, and he sits down at his desk and he's like, "Little Missy." I'm like, "Oh, dear Lord, here we go."
Here we go.
Mm-hmm. And asking me if I know the difference between a Yankee and a damn Yankee. No, sir. So there was a lot of that. A lot of I'd be going to a client, and I would have one of my associates come with me who helps with the underwriting and the data entry, spreadsheets, that kind of thing.
Right.
Well, if it was a male, they'd look at him.
They would be talking to.
They would be
who
talking
they thought was the
Mm-hmm. So it has come a long way. So in the 20 years I spent in banking, I saw a wonderful change. Lots of great female mentors, lots of wonderful male mentors. I think this was, the time period I'm speaking about was mid 90s. So the world was a lot different back then. And so, did that for 20 years and hopped around as you do, whether you're getting bought out or whatnot. Right. And kids came along. The littlest baby didn't take to daycare so well, and we're in a position to have me stay at home for a while. Yeah. And so right now, Corey who's in the other room, is asking when my 12-year sabbatical will end.
Hi, Corey. So, babe, are we about done with that sabbatical? Is vacation over? Never mind that your uterus has been working overtime and everything other body part has been working overtime. But yeah, that's okay. Thanks.
So I was very, very, very lucky, blessed, happy to be able to spend the time at home. It was hard at first, but then you get into your routine. But my girls are now in middle school, high school. So as you spoke about in the intro, so a lot of us are at this place now. We're not necessarily wanting to go back to what we know, what we did. And I don't even think that would correlate because that was 20 years ago. So,
Right.
how do you take the knowledge that you have in a certain space and push that into your second career? And what does that look like for you? And the hard part for me has been not falling back on what I know and trying to push myself into the unknown spaces, because it's super easy to say, well, I'll go work at a bank if they'll have me, because that's what I know. But that's
Right.
not what I want, and that's not where I want to be. So taking that skill set and finding something new that I can do with it, and it's scary because failure, it's new.
It's all the things where doing the thing of reinventing yourself is terrifying and also a little bit exhilarating, because you're able to, like we've talked about, give less fire trucks. You can just eliminate things very quickly because they don't serve you. And we've been around the sun enough times to recognize those fire trucks and move them out of the way. And that is exciting, exhilarating. And that little bit of fear that gets sprinkled in there is just enough to kind of keep you on your toes.
And keep you moving. Absolutely.
Absolutely keeps you moving. But what I think is fascinating about your journey, this is stuff that you probably don't even think about touching on, but the amount of service that you have done with the community, with your talents, with your ability to connect people together, with your leadership abilities. I mean, let's just touch on that. Let's talk about PTAs and foundations. And I mean, this friend of mine here, I'm like, what are you doing today? I'm at Bullard. What again? You're not a teacher. You need to leave Bullard. Stop with the Bullard. Oh, that's right. Your kids are now in middle school. Oh yeah, now it's with the McClure.
Yeah, it was a good way for me to get involved with the schools. We had moved when they were younger, when they were starting off at these schools. So to get to know moms and know the administration, and just enjoyed it. And just, I really had a great time being able to be part of that. It's interesting, as Joni said, my kids are now, middle school is my youngest. So the role is a lot less, when you're in elementary school and you're helping out, there's so much more to do. So there's, a little less to do here, a little less to do here. But of course, as Joni knows, your kids are involved in so many things. As they get older, then you become, you're the soccer team mom or you're the tennis mom. And so that, it's more specialized, I think. But I really did enjoy doing that. I think it was a way for me to feel like I was still involved in something that was kind of adult and using my brain, but still being able to be around my kids, and it was around their schedule. So, and that was honestly, the nice thing about banking was they were very philanthropic. So just, hey, we volunteer here, volunteer there. And that was one thing I did enjoy about the corporate banking aspect of it. But I think there's so many opportunities for us all to be involved with stuff if that is your inclination. And there's no reason that you have to stop that just because your situation changes.
And once again, the whole misnomer that a stay-at-home mom stays home.
Exactly.
I think that getting to get in a car and go someplace and sit down sounds great. I mean, I know when my four were in school, there was no sitting down. And now that mine are all launched, I'm like, oh, this is great.
Luxurious.
This is so good. What are all these people sad about with this empty nest? No, that is your job, to teach yourself out of a job and to be like, bye, don't let the door hit your ass. All I want to see is backs and elbows. That's right. Bye-bye.
I'll see you at Thanksgiving.
Exactly. That is literally our goal. Is they are supposed to leave. They're supposed to leave.
I know. I'm not ready for that. My oldest is still 10th grade, so
Uh-uh.
that hurts a little bit right now still.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that is no, you are still in, you still get cuddles every once in a while, I'm sure.
Yes.
And I mean, you hold on to that
Because
because,
it'll end.
and then, I mean, now when Sarah Grace comes home, I'm like, can you straighten my hair? And that's like the closest I can get to her.
Oh, sweet girl.
I know. I know. So let's talk about, you have so many gifts, so many talents, and you're always willing to share your gifts and talents. No, and that's your theme is when you were in banking, you did philanthropic things. When you were a stay-at-home mom, you weren't just a stay-at-home mom. You dug into everything that the kids were doing and the community is doing. And now that is kind of slowing down, sort of. It's more of a mental game now than a physical game at this age. Mm-hmm. What is it that you see yourself doing, and what kind of advice can you give to folks who did have, you had a major career in banking, and we've talked in the past about what does it look like when you're going into the reinventing of yourself, because you don't necessarily want to take what you had back there and bring it forward. It's going to look different. So let's talk about that.
That's a great question. So yeah, I don't necessarily want to go back to the constraints of a, corporate job.
Right.
Still, got a hard stop at a certain time with kids and driving them to activities. And but still want to, how do I take that 20 years of, relationship management and various degrees of financially successful or unsuccessful companies and managing them through their hardships and processes. What do I do with that now? And so one thing I did last summer, I took a class to get my mortgage loan originator license.
Yep.
Passed the test. Haven't gotten my license yet because I had an opportunity to work with a friend's company on the other side of banking. I was their in-house liaison to find new banking. And it was really fun and different to be on the other side of the table and just walk them through the process. And okay, here's what this means. Here's what the bank really is asking for. Here's what that means. And kind of opened my eyes up to a whole different side of consulting I hadn't even considered before.
Right.
So I've put the MLO on hold. It's always in the back pocket, I think, if I need it. I am
and options. I mean, I'm so proud of you, because taking those tests and putting yourself in that space and having to go through all that and passing the test, you literally gave yourself options.
The test sucked. To be honest, the test sucked.
Thank you. And don't let anybody fool you. Real estate tests sucked too.
Yes. And especially now, it's like, did we think we'd be taking tests right now? No, we thought we were past all that.
Thank you. I'm supposed to be on some kind of trail or tennis court. What the hell?
But yeah, so I don't know for sure which direction it'll go. So, Joni, you and I worked on just one deal that you had a few questions on, and we kind of had a conversation about it, and it wound up being something that worked out. And I just, I'm like, that was awesome. That made me feel so great. So, do I hang out my shingle for small business and entrepreneurs? Probably more appealing to me right now, especially in this market.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know yet. But it was nice to be able to have something besides the I'm just going to go back into banking to move forward with, because I did that once before and I was kicking myself for not getting out of it. Stayed in banking because it was easy. Like, this is what I know. Everyone knows me. I'll just stay here versus doing the scary, which is trying something new or figuring out even what that would be. But
Well,
now,
and having the time to be able to sit back and say, okay, what does 2.0 look like? And 2.0 might be 3.0 or 4.0, but being able to give yourself the grace and the time to take your past experiences, mesh them with everything that you've done, and then come back out on the front end and say, you know what, this right now works. And maybe tomorrow, or maybe 6 months, maybe 5 years, it's not going to work anymore. But any experience is valid. Any opportunity is just growth. And I think that's amazing. And that deal that Val and I were doing, there's something that I really, really am passionate about. It's called creative financing. And a lot of folks in real estate, a lot of agents don't know this. And if y'all don't know this, then we need to have a conversation about it. But when you do creative financing in real estate, basically you're taking a homeowner and flipping them into the position of being a lender. If someone owns their house outright, they can act as a bank to any buyer because they do exactly the same thing. And so I had a deal come up where my numbers were blurring, my thoughts were blurring, and I just called Val and I was like, help me walk through this. And so quickly, Val was able to say seller financing, balloon note, 30-year fixed, and then do this, and this. And I was like, I love you so much. So having friends in your corner who are brilliant, who can walk you through little nichey things like that is just invaluable. And for you, my love, I know when we had that Girl Getters meeting and I mentioned that you do creative financing, I think you might have gotten pinned to the wall by like 6 agents who were like, what do you? Mm-hmm. There's a need. There's a definite need out there in the real estate world just for that niche of being able to make seller financing make sense.
Yeah, especially in this market. And who knows what's going to happen now with rates, with the recent changes in the financial institutions, or some of them.
That 10-year treasury note is looking pretty interesting right now. Doing some things to some interest rates.
So it's always changing. And I guess that's part of my thought was, let's just kind of see where this goes and see if this, consulting here and there has any legs to it versus really putting all the eggs in the basket of, going back into an office. Because I like the flexibility. I like being able to, pick and choose who I work with and for, and we'll see where that goes, because this is an interesting time. I was in banking when the housing market collapsed. It was a very interesting time. This is also, hopefully in a different way and not as badly, going to be an interesting time. So I think this is a great opportunity, maybe for me to, like you're saying, help people be more creative, whether it's a company, an entrepreneur, an agent, to manage some financing in a different way than, the kind of cookie cutter that we're used to, given that everything is so fluid.
Yeah.
And see what we can come up with.
And sometimes traditional things in non-traditional times just don't work. And you need to be able to think out of the box and to pull out the whiteboard and say, how about this? And as a mega agent and real estate professional, I need that personally. And it's amazing to have friends that you can be like, hello, brilliant.
Oh, stop.
I'm going to need you to get that whiteboard back out, because girl can't add 1 and 1 right now.
It's because you got so much going on, girl. You just get it.
And I love that about you, that you're keeping it open-ended and doing what's going to serve you best now and in the future. And also realizing that your kids are still home and they're not always going to be home. And you do still want to be there for snack, and you still want to be there for those conversations. And I mean, that's the hugest blessing, is that flexibility.
100%.
I,
It
I,
really is.
I love that. So I want you to tell me something, speak to something. What would you tell your like 25-year-old self? If you could go back and sit down with Val,
Mm.
your 25-year-old self, what kind of advice would you give her?
Oh, oh, that's a good one. Um, so at 25, I was finishing grad school. Put yourself first. Just put yourself and what you want first. At that age, I was down south. My parents were under the assumption that I was going to be heading back home. They had moved to Massachusetts.
Okay.
I had no intention of doing that. I slept on friends' couches and whatnot to stay down here until the training program for Nations Bank started. Um, I hadn't even interviewed with them, so until the interviews with Nations Bank started. So I wouldn't do anything differently. I would tell myself not to feel badly about it,
Mhm.
because I knew if I went back home being where they had moved to in Massachusetts,
Right.
I'd never get back down here. And my one goal was to work for Nations Bank and get that job and stay in the South.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think you just have to really just know in your gut
Mhm.
what you want. Don't let, wouldn't let a boyfriend or just not that family is of course very important, but you're embarking on something. You're embarking on the rest of your life, and you need to make as much of a commitment to yourself as we do to other people every day with help and advice and whatnot. We need to internalize that sometimes, I think,
I think so
and
too.
do that for ourselves. It's
Mhm.
okay to go and do this thing. Someone might not like. My parents were, I still feel badly. I think they were upset. I didn't understand that they thought I was coming back to Massachusetts.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's just whatever it is that you have your sights set on, you go for it, because if not then when?
Amen. If not then when? And at that time, I know that it's very difficult for 25-year-olds, to really look at those fire trucks and give less about them,
Mhm.
because we're people pleasers. We don't want to hurt people. We don't, and we really spend a lot of energy in that space, and that can be really damaging. And
Yeah,
instead of saying, you know what, it's okay for me to have a want and a need and to put that first. And
100%.
that is so, so valuable. And then I'm gonna stick you with one question. And you can't cry though. You can't cry.
Oh, no.
I want you to talk about your tribe. I want you to talk about your people and what it means to you um, to have your group around you.
So, you're the reason I've been able to even reach for the stuff I'm reaching for now. I always thought, well, I'll just go back into some type of a boring job somewhere just to do something just because the kids are leaving. And I mean, you guys wouldn't have it. You would not have it. And I love it. I love it. It was like, no, what do you enjoy? Okay, here's what you're good at. Let's, brainstorm, and here are some ideas, and here are people I know you can talk to, and here's this. And I would not have thought 1 inch outside the box, because I figured 20 years out, 11 years at home, I'm lucky if anybody wants to, talk to me. And it was like, no, no, you guys would not have it. I've got you're like, you've got the skill set and you need to bring it. And let's, see what this next chapter is. So yeah, without my girl gang, I would, I wouldn't have done any of the stuff I've done this last year, which I never thought I would be doing. So and who knows what this next year is going to bring.
Amen. And I mean, that just, yes. And I think that we do. I mean, if I wasn't in my have to mode, I would have never even touched the potential that I didn't even know I had. And so hearing you say that gives me chills, because I think so many of us are stay-at-home moms with previous lives and think that we're going out to pasture or some bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm.
No. We're running the world.
Yeah.
You
One
know?
of my favorite things I heard was from a client I was helping, and with the banking on the other side of the banking table. And the comment was just a very simple, I knew I needed a mom to come help me with this.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
You needed someone who could see the big picture, break down what's wrong, poke holes in it, and then show you how to fix it, but make you accountable to the process. That's a mom.
Manage everybody and smile, and nobody gets their feelings hurt during it.
And there's no blood. It's good. Amen. And that whole thing that I mom so hard, absolutely. Sometimes.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah. Some people, some things need to be mommed, and that is a verb.
It is.
It's a verb.
It is. We bring it.
Amen. I love you so much.
I love you more.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing and being vulnerable and being brave. Because honestly, y'all, Wine Wednesday is not an easy thing to be on. I'm going to put it out there. You are live, and there's an average of about 5,000 people who watch this. So I'm just saying. I'm glad you didn't put your phone number up there.
Thank you for having me. I love you, boo.
I love you too. Smooches, baby. Okay, guys. So we are wrapping up. So we've got every Wednesday. So we've got next Wednesday. We have a guest, and then one more Wednesday after that. I also want to make sure you all know that we have at least 6 listings right now. So all my folks out there, if you're looking at upsizing, downsizing, right sizing, looking for investment properties, JB & Co's got them all. So make sure you holler at me. And if you're interested in creative financing, reach out to me and I will connect you with Val, because wow, the brains run thick there. I mean, hello, she's real good. All right, guys, love you.
Love you.
Bye.